All right. So good morning. We are starting a little late here, so apologies for that. But we are live now here at Nailing FX. It's the US session. You're with us. Tradewithufos. And to reach me, you can reach me at andrew@tradewithufos.com. And just by way of disclaimers, on this 21st of July 2020, the following video clips and demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. So Tradewithdictive provides these videos purely for the purposes of demonstrating a method of using the product. And so users understand that all the content used in this video is for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. So as a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through this demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive using our products. Okay, so here on this FX Street session, what I'm going to cover is, I guess, a couple of things. Well, firstly, to talk about flight plans, which is really, talking about scenarios and what if type of situations, and how would you go about doing things if certain, events or price action unfolded, from what you see on a chart. And the reason why I call this flight plans is, or flight planning, is really to give a certain mindset, when you're, or okay, maybe if you're a traveler, right, you go on a holiday somewhere, you have to do some sort of planning, right? But if you're a pilot, you really have to understand, that's your job, right? You really have to understand where you're going, you have to understand the weather, you have to make sure you've got enough fuel, you have to check the weight of the plane and, the cargo that you're carrying, all these different, elements to make sure that you're able to take off and land and get to your destination safely. So for us traders, our job is to, place a trade and get it to be, successful. Either you reach your targets or you take a loss, right? And so either of those two outcomes is just part and parcel of trading, right? And of course, in the case of flying, you don't want to crash or anything, right? But also that's our outlook of things as well, isn't it? It's to make sure that whatever we do, we don't crash. You got to have little turbulence, right? You got to have wastage, right? Which is losses, right? Losses is part and parcel of trading, right? Just as when you're flying, you gotta hit bumps, right? You're going to waste fuel, right? You're going to have crosswinds. There's a lot of different things that can come your way, and so it's the same with what we do in trading, right? And so when we look at the markets, right, how are you looking at it? Are you looking at it in this way? Where your focus is currently on the last last week or two of trading, right? But what perspective does that give you? It definitely gives you the immediate perspective of what's going on, right? And as we've seen here, the Aussie dollar, has really shot up, right? And if you had drawn, whether it be horizontal lines, right, to indicate, where there was some sort of resistance that had been broken, and maybe some support, right, that had come in, right? You know, and maybe prior sort of support down the bottom here, right? And these highs are now being exceeded, right? So what do you know, plan to do here, right? And you know, having that focus, you know, at this point is a good thing, right? But what if you know, you looked at things from this perspective, right? Would that give you a different plan? You know, would that help you, you know, plan for your trades better, or would it not? You know, and so clearly, you know, from looking at this longer term, you know, time frame, right? Not just the last month, right, or 3 weeks. You're looking at a number of months now, right? Over, you know, really a year, you know, from July all the way back to you know, July. That's a year of data, right? That you're seeing here, a year of trading, right? And even further, right? If you go back to January, that's a year and a half of price action that has taken place, you know. And now you're able to see with you know, greater perspective, you know, what has transpired, and really where some of those prior highs, you know, those peaks have been, you know, those peaks and valleys, you know, how price has traveled, right, with this huge drop, you know, because of COVID, and an equally huge recovery, right? You know, even back towards the, you know, breaking prior highs now, and leaving, you know, this high, right, exposed, you know, to to be a target, right? Because price is moving up, and so we really want to be biased to the upside at the moment, right? But yeah, what is your plan, right? What is the opportunity that's in front of you, and how are you going to take advantage of it, you know, given this circumstance? Because, you know, one thing that you may be tempted to do, right, is to chase this, right? Because you've missed out, you know, you didn't get in, you know, when price was oscillating at around this point. You didn't get in when price moved up and then retraced back, and now has moved higher, right? So what is, you know, the plan, right, for you know, this sort of situation, you know, when price is now cleared prior highs, right? What are you looking to do? You know, are you going to chase price? Are you going to chase this breakout, or are you going to trade a retracement, or, you know, what's the plan? You know, so, and how far, right? How far is it going to go? Are you too late, right? Is that what you're thinking? You know, that you're too late to the game, and so, hey, let's just move on to something else, and that may be the right decision to make. You know, but what's the you know, how are you going to trade this? You know, because trading this is going to be different to trading, you know, this, right? You can't approach things in the same way, right? And how you trade this is going to be different to how you trade this, right? Right? Because here now you're biased to the downside, here you're biased to the upside. But, you know, what is your, you know, plan for trading such price action? You know, are you able to, um, you know, you're not going to be able to predict, right, what price action is going to unfold, you know, at any one point in time, but you can at least, you know, assess the situation and determine for yourself, well, okay, if this is how price is moving, then what am I going to do if price does A? You know, what am I going to do if price does B, right? And so take a level of control, right, over your situation. rather than allow the circumstances, right, to dictate your you know your emotions, right? I mean, they may they'll always dictate all of your actions, right? But they don't have to define your emotions, right? So the thing to do here, right, is to look at the context, right? The context of where price currently is, and then plan scenarios accordingly, right? So while, right, um, while we wait for price to move in that direction, right? Because you have a plan, right? It's not you're able to make clearer decisions, right? So one of the tools, right, that help bring objectivity, right, to making decisions about where there are opportunities to buy and where there are opportunities to sell, right, is the Audio UFOs tool, right, app, okay? And so what this is basically, it's a big calculator, right? It's an algorithm that identifies the concentrations of where there are sell orders, right? So we have these UFOs here, right? That's what the circles denote, is where there are concentrations of unfilled orders, okay? And so what we expect price to do as it approaches these areas of concentration, right, is the buying, right, activity is going to be absorbed, right? It's going to be overwhelmed by more selling activity and therefore move price lower, right? Until the buyers come back in and say, hey, we like prices down at say this level here, and we're going to, move price higher, right? And so that's how we get all these different patterns, right? The buyers came in and bought here. Why didn't price go down any lower? Well, that's because there were no buyers, after this point here, right? There were no buyers lower than this low here. Right? There weren't any buyers at this beyond this low, right? At that point in time, right? Or any subsequent point in time. Yeah. Could there be buyers lower than that, right? Below here? Yes. Yes, there are, right? But price needs to get down there in order for those buyers to start to have the opportunity to buy, right? So we can use, these order UFOs to help set our expectations of where the market players consider Aussie dollar in this case to be cheap, and where they consider Aussie dollars to start to get a little bit more expensive, right? So we have three areas here where the auto UFOs are identifying, right, where there are concentrations of sell orders. Okay. Right. Okay. So there are three areas stacked on top of each other of where there is interest to sell the Aussie dollar. Okay. Now, are there orders here currently sitting here? Yeah, there's probably some orders currently sitting there. But what we will find, right, is that, hey, look, the market players, they will have their, technology, right, their computers, programmed to deploy their orders as and when they see fit, whether they're deploying them right now, right, or whether they'll deploy them as price gets closer, right, to these areas. We'll see, right? But what the auto UFOs currently is doing for us is at least identifying those locations where we can expect the market players to come in to sell. Okay, come in to sell. Now we do get questions, right, on how to access this technology, right, our apps. And if you'd like to find out more, right, you can go to Trade with UFOs and just type in there my name, Andrew, okay, and that will bring you up to this page here, where you just enter your name and email address, where we can give you more information about our technology, as well as training, right, on how to use our auto UFOs as well as auto climate, right? And in fact, if you do send, express your interest, right, by putting your name here and email, I've actually got a coupon which I can send you, right, which can give you access to auto climate, right, which is our other app. Okay. And what that app does is helps you identify, okay, and I'll turn off these other ones first. Will help you to understand basically the weather, right? So currently, the weather is a blue sapphire, denoted by a blue sapphire color, okay, is up. Right? And the fact that it's a solid blue is a confirmed up climate, right? So that means our bias is to be buying, right? And that's where we would, use our auto UFO app, okay, really at these lower time frames, which really depends on your style, how you want to use that, to now identify those buying opportunities, right? So yes, hey, look, you're going to miss opportunities, right, to buy at these lower prices, but that's the cool thing about the app, is that it is going to help you identify, right, new areas where the interest in buying, right, is going to be identified, right? So you don't have to, chase price. Let's just wait until price comes down a little bit, right? Get it cheaper, right? Price is going to retrace at some point, it always does, right? It did here, right? It had little retracements here, right? And yes, is it going to take a deeper retracement to, to get into this sort of opportunity, right? To continue long? Yes, it is. But, are you an opportunist, or do you, just want to blindly trade, right? Let's be a little smarter, about the decisions that we make. Let's buy things cheap. If prices are heading up, let's not buy things expensive. Let's be a little patient, right? And so that's really, our philosophy is, at Trade with UFOs, is to, encourage people to be more objective about their decision making, and so that's why we need to also look at, the bigger picture, right? Okay, so George, you have a question here. Yes. Okay. So let me go back to those UFOs that you're talking about. Yes. So the colors do mean something, right? So if we have a deeper maroon color, right, then that is an area of concentration of unfilled orders, but it's going to be less concentrated there, right? It's going to be less concentrated there. Whereas if you have an area where it's a brighter red, right, we expect there to be a higher concentration of unfilled orders, or at least an area at which there's going to be more interest to sell, right? Uh, okay, so but the fact that we have layer upon layer of UFOs means that as a whole, right? As a whole, this whole area is of interest to sellers. So that's pretty wide. That's a pretty wide area, right, to get through, and so there's a lot of orders, that that the buyers are going to have to get through if they're going to really push price higher. Okay, so George, does that answer your question there? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We're gonna have and already the buyers are kind of indicating, not just through that initial move here, but through this kind of push up, that there is going to be interest to buy, but it's going to encounter that some resistance now, right? So again, that this is all about planning, right? I mean, planning and setting your expectations, and that's the hardest thing, is managing expectations, right? Whether it be in trading, whether it be with your bosses, right? Whether it be with your spouse, with your kids, with family, it's all about expectations, so which is why the the novel Great Expectations is, I guess, a favorite of many, because many people resonate with that story. And so it's the same with trading, with the markets, right? If we really want to get it right, if we want to nail it, right, then we need to manage our expectations, right? I mean, the market, the market is what it is, right? It doesn't have any expectations either way, right? It's our expectations that get us into trouble, or it gets us into success, and so having ways to manage your expectations, to understand yourself, to understand what state you're in, right? What state you need to be in order to make good decisions is something that is important, right? So again, we look at the the bigger picture, to give context, and clearly, the climate is telling us up, right? If you use moving averages, right, you can use trend lines, right? You can use whatever you want, right, to help you, right, and guide you to set your expectations, uh, uh, and and that's really what all of these tools should be there to do, and able to make it as simple as possible, right? To not overcomplicate your view of things, or if you do have multiple tools that you use, which is fine, right? Just make sure that it doesn't, cloud out your perspective, right? And even if you do use them, right, turn them off, right, when you don't need them, right? Once you have your perspective, right? Get rid of the clutter, right? So that's what I tend to do is just kind of keep my charts clean as I can, right? Which sometimes do your analysis and I'm a bit of a note taker, so I do like to put things on my charts at times, but at the same time I also don't want to over clutter what I'm looking at, and just to be clear on what it is that I'm looking to exploit, right? So and where do I want to exploit? So that's why, hey, it's nothing, it's good to look at things from all perspectives, right? So that on the lower, right, and okay, I can get rid of this one now, right? Because on the lower time frames, I mean, that's where you see more of the detail, right? That's where you can see, hey, look, where are those, opportunities where you could enter, right? And is it the type of structure that you're interested in, right? And to the extent that the other tools can help you, to define the strategy, right? To which you're going to enter into the market, um, then use those tools, but use them in a I guess a prudent way, right? Just don't go all out crazy, and put so much stuff on your screen that you can't tell what's going on, So this is planning, right? I mean, we've seen on the higher time frame, right? We can see here on the time frame that clearly everything is up, 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 and up, right? But we're going to enter an area where there's potentially a lot of sellers interested in selling, up at, oh geez, 74, 73, 72. These are round numbers as well. We broke through, or we are breaking through 70, 71, right? So, you know, can it go higher? Yes, it can go higher, and that's what it's indicating, right? So, we haven't missed out on the party yet. Um, we just need to identify those areas that we want to get into, right? Yes, I could. Yep, I could share that. No problem. Yeah. Um, so 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 let's look at these two opportunities here, and so prices was ranging for a while, right? Kind of retraced down and kind of made new higher, retraced, and then has broken higher, and so we know that the opportunities to um, you know to get into the trade are here, right, from those prior UFOs, okay, that we turned on here, right? Okay, right. So this is so we had a couple of layers here, right? So price, we need to wait for price to come back down to, what's that? Let's see, 70, 58. You call it 70, 60. Okay, let's call that 70, 60. And 60. And since we've kind of got two areas, right, where two areas of concentration, so let's call it 70, 70, 10. Okay, let's really encompass that whole area, and so that's 50 pips is really what you've got there, right? All right. So that's 50 pips there. And so, you know, if you have a fixed risk, which I tend to do, you know, I tend to say, hey, let's just fix my risk at a certain dollar amount, right? So let's call that 70.60 here. And then, you know, you take your 50 pips here, right? And so let's say you do your 1-to-1, and you know, let's say you've got a normal risk of you know, 200, and you know, half your position you put here, so that's 20. You know, it's a 0.2. Okay, so you can just whack that on, and then you know, if you want to have your second target, right? And you know that, okay, if that's 1-to-1, you know, you can't have any expectation more than 2-to-1, right? Right. Same risk, right? Because you know that, hey, look, you're going to be running into these areas of sell orders, right? The UFOs there. So having an expectation of 10-to-1, right? You know, unless you clear through these sell orders, right? You know, having an expectation of anything greater really than 3-to-1 is you know, at this point, not something that you want to plan for, right? And so the other way to look at these layers here, right, is, and I'm just going to, let me just clear off these orders so it doesn't cloud our vision here. Okay. So if you think of this like an airplane, right? Right, you're trying to, you know, you're ascending. You know, you're flying. You've been flying higher, 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 right? And now you're coming into some clouds. You know, that's really just what's going on here, right? So, so you know, can you fly through these clouds, right? Well, you're gonna have to, you know, navigate. You know, prices is gonna have to navigate through these clouds in order to break through, right, and move any higher, right? But until you get into, you probably gonna have a lot of turbulence going on, right? You're gonna have a lot of turbulence going on, you know, a lot of downward pressure, you know, coming into your plane, right? So to have an expectation, you know, of getting up to here, well, okay, not to say it's not going to get up here, but you know what, you know, it's gonna, you know, you're gonna have to have a lot of gas, right? You're gonna have a lot of fuel to get up through there, right? You're gonna have a lot of buyers, you know, following you, right? Or in front of you, right? You probably want, you know, the bigger guys, you know, if this is you, you know, you're the smaller guy, right? This is you, right? You want the bigger guys to be able to plow ahead of you, you know, and so this is you know, this is what I mean, right? Is you want to make sure that you plan for the, you know, the scenario that's in front of you, right? So let's look at you know, let's look at a market. Picking up somebody, you know, type into the Q&A box there. You know, a particular market you want to take a look at, right? And let's see how we can plan for an opportunity. Okay, pound CAD. All right, okay. Let's look at pound CAD. Okay, so what's going on here? Right, big picture. All right, big picture. Okay, so we have, you know, clearly price has been challenged here, right? And also challenged down these areas here. Okay, and also up here, if price ever gets back up here, there's been, rejection, right, where prices move lower. And we haven't been able to get past here, right? These are extremes, and we haven't been able to get past here. So this is very far away, right? This is very far away, right? So what do we do here? Well, okay, let's see where we have some areas of selling, okay? So it's the nearest one really is here, where we have seen, right, price reject before, okay? So let's also look at where there is buying opportunity, okay, which is all the way down here, okay? And so what we have here is elements of a plan, right? So let's forget about this up here for a moment, okay? And so what's going to have to happen here, right? What's going to have to happen here for price to move higher? Well, you're going to have to break these prior highs, right? And therefore, you have, essentially defined an uptrend, right? Once you break those highs, right? Because isn't this what is defined as an uptrend? You get a higher low, you got a high, now you get a higher high, and that's, you get a little bit of a pullback. That's an uptrend, right? If price, moves down here, okay, in order to have a downtrend, right? So we have a bit of a zigzag, okay, until price breaks, right, that low, and then this low, then you have a downtrend, right? Right. So, but yeah, for the moment, what, what the scenario is potentially playing out to be is yeah, probably sideways, right? So probably, we still can, could still move up to the upside here, right? And then just, kind of zigzag our way through, right? And just to confirm, what is the climate currently? Okay, let me throw that back on. So the current climate, right, is for buying opportunities, right? So that blue, sapphire blue solid means an up climate, and so that's what we're saying, up climate. And this is where we would want to look for buying opportunities, right, on our lower time frame, okay. And so let's again turn on our audio UFOs, and so here, right, here's my line to the upside. Let me repurpose that. Okay, repurpose that so that we can see, all right, the buying opportunities are going to be here, right? And hey, look, the truth is that from a higher time frame, this is where the sellers came in, right? Where there are other selling opportunities, right? It's a little clearer up here, okay? And so there is some prices here where there's interest in selling at these lower time frames, right? So it's good to be aware of them. And then how does this now affect our plan, right? Because we know, let's just go back to the bigger picture. Okay, we know, right, from this, from the bigger picture, right, that hey, look, we're coming into an area where there is interest in selling, right? But if we do see breaks above that, okay, well maybe we have you know emerging opportunities for higher prices, right, in pound CAD, you know, until at the lower time frame again, right, until we have breaks of these lows, right, you're not going to see a change in trend, right? Um, right. So, but if you're going to go long, right, we also just need to keep in mind that look, there are sell orders above, and so to have a risk and reward, expectation, you know, that's 1-to-1. This is 2-to-1, right? Um, and that's like 3-to-1, right? Okay. If you got to have that sort of expectation, well, you better be ready, right, for price action, right, which could get a little, you know, volatile, right? It could get a little tough, right, getting through here, you know. So are you prepared for that, right? Are you prepared for that? That scenario, that outcome. Okay. So just in these last few minutes, right? So, okay, just one question from George. So if you see a zone on a zone, as we have in this example, would you could right? So again, right? What's the scenario, right? What's the scenario? If you have a continued uptrend, right? Then expectation, then you would say, all right, I'm allowed to go down at least to this one, right? Because then, okay, you're breaking this low, right? But you're not breaking that low, right? But you are breaking the trend line, right? So it kind of also depends on how you, how you view things. What sort of, or what you're, what tells you that this price is potentially just going to range trade, right? So definitely, one of the things that you would plan for a scenario would be probably all of these, right? What if price came here? What if price came here? What if price came here? What is that going to tell you? If price came down here, right, and cleared that low, then you know the market's kind of sending you a bigger message, right? Right. So um, so I think the the um, and the significance, right? I think, yeah, again, the bigger picture, right? You know, kind of, you know, people define things in terms of impulse pullback, right? That was a pullback, and then hey, that was kind of a bit of an impulse down, right? But then you had some recovery to this end, but you haven't cleared, right? You haven't cleared these prior highs, and to kind of convince you to that price is going to move higher, right? But yeah, what again, it's all about setting expectations, right? If you believe that price is going to move higher, right, for whatever factors, right, then plan for that scenario, right? If you believe that hey, there's something that is going to push the pound CAD lower in this direction, well, you know you got to plan for that scenario, right? And you can plan for multiple scenarios, right? But you at least have a couple of scenarios in mind, and as you get familiar, more familiar with the markets that you're trading, right, then you can understand better and better, what um, what influences these, these markets, right? And so even that, even though we've got 33 pairs here, right? You probably don't want to trade them all either, right? Find one that you like and really understand it, and then exploit it as much as you can, Okay, so just in these last couple of minutes, there was a question on how to get into get auto climate, right? So just come to tradewithufos.com/Andrew, right? And just type in your name and your email. And what I'll do is I'll send you a link on auto climate and the coupon to get that, right? Just to be clear, okay, Auto UFOs is a separate app, right? So that's the that's the red and the green UFOs, okay, and so that's a separate app. In order to have access to that, I mean there is training that we have. Where we do provide access to the app for for the duration of the training, plus about a week. So we give 2 weeks access really to it, so you can try it out, see if it's something that is helpful to you, understand how we use it using our methodology and our process, and that way you can see whether you want to continue on with the subscription, which is $34 per month, but you are able to have auto climate for free. So normally there's an activation fee, and so the coupon really is to waive that activation fee, right? And so these are the classes that we have. So there is a self-paced one, which is a series of videos that you can watch in your own time and learn from, or there is a live online class. So if you're interested in that, then we are looking to probably run a class probably in August, and then these are the technologies, right? You can either get it through TradingView or through TradeStation, right? But the people tend to like TradingView, and so giving having access to the apps on TradingView is actually pretty cool. So okay, all right. So that's all I have for this session of Nailing FX. Hey, thanks for all your questions. And if you do have any other questions, George or anybody else watching this video, feel free to send me an email. And I'm just going to put that up again, just so that you all can see that. Okay. Right, so there it is, andrew@tradewithufos.com. Feel free to drop me an email at any time. Okay. Hey, well, again, thanks again for joining, and we will catch you next time. If not here, then on FX Street, you can reach me at some of the sessions that I do also at YouTube, right? Trade with UFOs. Okay, so and we do have live sessions on there as well. Okay, right. Hey, thanks, George. Glad you enjoyed our session, and look forward to connecting with you again soon.